One of the most vague and unclear ideologies that exist in the world today, a cult, is nothing but a large group of people with deviant behavior and novel beliefs that is by and large considered to be socially unacceptable. Their eccentric behavior may occur due to strange religious beliefs or otherwise. And India, a country with a great history of its own, has been known to have its own share of social misfits. Welcome to InFact. Here we list out some of the most bizarre cults our country has had to offer through the ages, some of which still exist today. Brahmakumari. Originally called the Om Mandali, the Brahmakumari was started in 1932 by a retired diamond dealer called Lekraj Kripalani, and it is one of the largest organizations in India today. In the mid-1930s, Kripalani, then in his 50s, claimed that the spirit of Shiva spoke through him and began to be perceived as a medium of God. He then went on to amass a multitude of followers, most of which were rich women who pledged their fortunes to him, his cause, and made celibacy oaths. This created quite an uproar, and pissed off families and husbands called for the organization to be banned. Fearing prosecution, Kripalani moved base from Hyderabad to Karachi. After the partition of India, they moved to Mount Abu and have been there ever since. After Kripalani's death in 1969, they started expanding to other countries, gathering thousands of followers along the way. The lifestyle recommended includes celibacy, a strict lacto-vegetarian diet, and an abstinence from alcohol, tobacco, and non-prescription drugs. Today, the Brahmakumari claims to be a spiritual organization that also doubles up as an NGO. They claim to have 4,500 centers across 100 countries with a membership of close to 450,000, 80% of which are women. They are now affiliated with the UN and have won several Peace Messenger awards. Aghori. The Aghori are followers of a Hindu sect believed to be 1,000 years old. The present form of the Aghori sect may be traced back to Baba Keenaram, a 17th century fanatic who they say lived until the age of 170. The Aghori are usually found residing near cremation sites, most famously in Varanasi. They can also be found in other areas which are much more remote, including the cold caves of the Himalayas, the dense jungles of Bengal, and the hot deserts of Gujarat. One of the most famous practices of the Aghori is cannibalism. They consume the flesh of corpses brought to the cremation grounds. This human flesh is often eaten raw, though at times it is roasted over an open fire. The Aghori believe that distinctions are merely delusions and obstacles in the path of one's spiritual development. Thus, they see no difference between good and evil, nor do they see a difference between human and animal flesh. The consumption of the flesh of corpses, therefore, is an affirmation of the Aghori's belief system. Dayan. The Dayan cult refers to a secret society which emerged during the 15th century in Harangul, a village in the Latur district of Maharashtra. In Harangul, it is believed that Dayan lives in an area of the village and an evil spirit resides within them. Villagers believe these women destroy everything good. Dayans are reported in and around cemeteries, abandoned battlefields, crossroads, toilets, and squalid places. Folklore suggests that a woman treated badly by a family or who died in childbirth as a result of family neglect returns as a Dayan, haunting the family and drinking the blood of male family members. Beginning with the youngest male in the family, draining his blood changes him into an old man before she progresses to the other men. The Dayans communicate using a secret symbolic language, and their hair is supposed to be their most powerful tool, having mystical and magical powers. In India, they are associated with worship of Kali and Durga. Many of these worshippers believed they were the handmaidens of these goddesses and are also called Dakinis or Yoginis in local lore. Thuggi. Responsible for the murder of thousands of innocent travelers, Thuggi refers to a group of people who were professional assassins. The Thuggis or thugs traveled in groups across India for several hundreds of years. They would befriend a group of unwary travelers and would proceed to murder them, dispose their body, and steal their valuables. In history, they are described as a cult of people engaged in mass murder. In fact, the thugs also feature in the Guinness Book of World Records with over 2 million kills attributed to these merciless wolves. They all had divided roles. One would be a hitman, another the lookout, and one would act as the getaway driver, probably in charge of the horses. They would strangle the unsuspecting victim with the rumal and take off with the valuables. The Thuggis supposedly worship the goddess Kali. However, the fact that there were plenty of Muslim Thuggis complicates that theory. Eventually, after the British invaded India, they set up a department to eliminate the thugs completely. Major William Sleeman was in charge, and after a lot of efforts, they eventually succeeded in destroying the organization. Thus, after millions of killings, bringing the Thuggi era to an end. Rajneeshpuram. What started as basic motivational speaking in the 1960s quickly turned into the advocations of the Guru by the 1970s. By the 80s, it had turned into a mass international following. This is the story of Chandra Mohan Jain, or as his followers call him, Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh, an unorthodox, untraditional Guru. He was known to embrace all the earthly pleasures as opposed to renouncing them. The story of Osho begins in the 60s, where he toured around India speaking about philosophy and sex. He set up headquarters in Pune in 1974 and began his congregation in India. However, he largely promoted indulgence in sex, thereby facing hostility from India and Indians in general. However, he managed to get recognition in the US for the very same reasons. Therefore, he left India in 1981 and set up a huge base in Oregon. By 1985, he built his own city on a plot of land called Rajneeshpuram, which harbored over 2,500 people. However, what followed next was right out of a Bollywood movie. Sheila, Rajneesh's spokesperson and a member of his inner circle, was found guilty of carrying out a bioterrorist attack on a local restaurant along with other members of Rajneeshpuram. The attack left 45 in the hospital and over 750 people with a severe bout of food poisoning. This subsequently led to Sheila being extradited from Germany and charged for her crimes, and Rajneesh was deported back to India, where he lived until his death in 1990. Dera Sacha Sauda. It was started as a non-profit social welfare and spiritual organization on April 29, 1948 by the ascetic Mastana Balochistani. Its main center is situated in Sirsa, Haryana, in the northern region of India. After the death of Mastana Balochistani, his movement was split into three groups, with Satnam Singh leading the Sirsa group, who selected Gurmeet Ram Rahim to be his successor. The organization has 46 ashrams across India and other countries. The Naam method of meditation was taught to the followers, who accepted three principles of the cult for the rest of their life. Consumption of meat, egg, alcohol, drugs, tobacco, etc. were prohibited, along with illicit sex or adultery. They were also asked to abstain from ritualism and from making monetary religious donations. Ironically enough, the head of the cult, Gurmeet Ram Rahim Singh, went against all these rules and was accused of rape and murder. On 25th August 2017, he was found guilty of sexually assaulting two Dera Sadhuis. Asaram Bapu. Asumal Harpalani, whom his followers called as Asaram Bapu, was originally an alleged bootlegger who used to sell illicit liquor on the banks of Sabarmati near Motera. He saw an already existing ashram there as a business opportunity, and the rest is history. Asaram Bapu may not have had to look back ever since he set up his first kutia or hutment in Motera village here in 1971, but the path had all along been strewn with scandals. The controversial godman, who was sentenced to life in prison after being found guilty of raping a 16-year-old in his ashram, had built an empire of 1,000 crores and owned close to 400 ashrams in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh. Besides putting up a front of being a spiritual guru, the 78-year-old was an aggressive loan shark who dealt in real estate, land grabbing, Binami properties and other investments. The controversial godman, who presented letters of praise from former President K.R. Narayan and APJ Abdul Kalam and Vice President Byron Singh Shekhawat in the court, wielded enormous clout with politicians across the spectrum who prostrated in front of him. Nityananda. It was in the year 2000 that Nityananda set up his first ashram in Tamil Nadu. He is the founder of the trust Nityananda Dhyanapeetham, which has temples, gurukulas and ashrams in many countries. After spreading to a few districts in the state, he opened his big first ashram in Bidadi, in the outskirts of Bengaluru in 2003. In 2007, Nityananda was elected as chairman of Florida-based Hindu University of America. In March 2010, news channels published an investigative sting of the godman in an intimate relationship with the Tamil actor. Nityananda, who was known to preach a life of celibacy and abstinence, was suddenly facing protests from disappointed devotees and others. 2 days after the tape was broadcast, the woman devotee filed a complaint of alleged rape against him, and all hell broke loose. Nityananda, whose ashrams were already under attack, fled. In April 2010, he was arrested from Himachal Pradesh and brought Bengaluru, but nothing stopped the Nityananda empire from growing. From ashrams in almost every district of Tamil Nadu and in Bidadi, he slowly started owning and operating properties across the country in Telangana, Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Delhi and Puducherry. While initially Nityananda ran one Gurukul out of the Bidadi ashram, another one was started in Ahmedabad a few years ago. In December 2019, Nityananda declared that he had created a new Hindu nation called Kailasa and claimed to issue passports passports, currency, and other documents. In his announcement, he said, Kailasa is a nation without borders created by dispossessed Hindus around the world who lost the right to practice Hinduism authentically in their own countries. Nityananda claims that Kailasa is the world's only sovereign Hindu nation. Kailasa has also been described as a network of non-governmental organizations spanning 3 continents. That's it for this video. See you in the next one.